the Fortified podcast, where we take a stand against domestic violence, and we survivors have a voice, please. Welcome our hosts, JT, Stephanie, Jen, and special guest, Sarah Miller from the Domestic Violence Railroad.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Fortified podcast. My name is JT. I'm here with my lovely sisters, Jen and Steph. Everybody say hi.
Hello.
And we have a special guest today, Sarah Miller, who is the founder of the Domestic Violence Railroad. And we're going to get into what the Domestic Violence Railroad is. But first, I wanted to just introduce Sarah, who's the founder, and then we're going to get into kind of the story of the DVRR and her personal story. But like the first thing I think we need to ask Sarah is, first of all, welcome to the podcast. And the second question is like, can you give us like, I don't know, 30-second like high level summary of what the Domestic Violence Railroad is? Does it have anything to do with trains?
Absolutely not. Our organization, our nonprofit, is all run by volunteers who are all domestic violence survivors. So across the country, we have a survivor in every state. So if we need something local, we can call on that state and they might know something that you can't just Google, or something that the hotline may not have, but someone may just know somebody who can help. So, and we just link together and figure it out.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I have to ask, what were you doing before the DVRR? What prompted you to start the DVRR?
I was at the most peaceful time I think I've ever had in my life. I had finally switched careers and found someone, and my girls were doing better, and everything was great and peaceful and quiet. And then I had that TikTok I had made went viral. The 10 things that were not normal in a DV relationship. Once that had hit 1 million I'm at about 2 million views now. I mean, there were tens of thousands of comments from victims and survivors. And I just couldn't leave them alone. Couldn't just let them not get out.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
You kind of alluded to what you said. You mentioned a peaceful time, like things were finally peaceful. Does that mean before they weren't? Like seemed to be a time where things were not so peaceful.
Yeah. So my survivor date, I don't know why it's even hard to say that. June in 2022. And so for the 10 years prior to that, I was with someone and married for 7 years, almost 7 years, a week short of 7, who took me from, I just before I met him, I thought I was at my absolute best. I had lost the weight. I was looking better. I was feeling confident. I met him and he had made me 100 times worse than when he'd met me. I stayed that way for quite a long time. It took a long time before I found a way to stay out.
Yeah. It often takes about 7 times leaving someone to be able to stay away, leaving a relationship that turns abusive like that. So I mean, it's hard to stay away sometimes. I've experienced that in my last relationship. It was difficult at first.
So let me back up a little bit. So you in this relationship you had, obviously, well, I don't know, maybe not obviously, but it I'm imagining it didn't start out bad, because like if it started
They
out
never
bad,
do.
okay, yeah,
They never do.
okay, just wanted to clarify that. Okay, like
Yeah.
how
No.
long into that relationship did you start? I don't even know if notice is the right word, but did you finally, like, now that you're looking back on it, like how long before the abuse actually started? Was it before you were married? Was it before the kids? Was it after the kids? Like, walk me through kind of the progression of that.
Um, well, him and I didn't have kids together. Um, but I had mine and he had his. And he had them half the time. So I still spent half of their life for 10 years, raising them, which was very difficult. But yeah, in the beginning, no, he was my knight in shining armor. And that's kind of what he portrayed. Uh, I met him way too soon after, and everybody's time frame's different. I can't say that because um, even my relationship now is different. Um, but I met him very soon. Things hadn't really settled down with my girls' dad, who had left. He had cheated, and my abuser, when I met him, he immediately made a point to manipulated me into fearing my ex,
Mm.
Mm.
and that he needed to protect me.
And you hadn't feared your ex before that?
There was one of the first nights that we had gone out. He stayed over. My kids were gone, and my ex came by and just was yelling and stuff. But he took him yelling. We'd never gotten physical. He was never abusive. He just was an unmotivated, had wandering eyes problem.
Mm.
Um, but nothing like that. But just from those few instances, which after looking in and seeing, okay, well, you know, he sees this situation and, he validly, we were married for over 10 years. He's upset. Okay. But there wasn't any reason to fear him. And I ended up getting a protection order against him. He didn't see the girls for a while. They put um, supervised visitation on him,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't deserve that. I feel really bad for that.
Yeah.
How did your abuser, now boyfriend, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like, what did he do to convince you that you needed to do all of this? What kinds of things was he saying?
Uh, well, he had just gone through a divorce,
Mm.
and his ex had claimed all these things too. And so he knew how the system worked, and he knew all the things that you need to say and do in order to
Right.
get, so he was going to, and just having met me, he was going to be like my help me with my divorce. And yeah, and basically it was how he would have I guess how he would have done things differently, or done things as the woman's side of things, because he's always had the point of view that, the court is all about what women want. They don't ever care about what we want. Da, da, da,
Mm-hmm.
So um I think this was like his turn. He had just gotten done with really ugly custody stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like couple weeks before we met. So he was feeling very, yeah,
Feisty.
yeah. And basically, and kind of used me. And the entire time we were married, the whole time we were together, constantly trying to get back at her, his ex, and taking her to court and having me claim stuff. I've lied to CPS. I've, all the stuff. That man really hates women.
Yeah. So he basically
I know one of
used,
those.
yeah, he basically used you to almost get back at her kind of thing, right?
hmm Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm trying to put myself in his shoes as far as when he's trying to like manipulate you to go after your ex with the protection order and stuff. And I'm thinking, well, if that were me, and I'd want to assert as much control over the relationship as possible. I don't want her to have to go. I don't want her to have another to have a relationship, even if it's just a social relationship with her ex at all.
To cut that off.
You need to cut, I would want to cut that off
Right.
so that she doesn't have an outlet to go back to, and that I can kind of get my claws in and start
Because
with
he was trying to get me back. He was trying to get me back.
Now it's making
Mm.
sense.
Yeah, now
Mhm.
it's making sense a lot. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, so moving past that, he you guys continue to date, protection orders are in place, at some point, you thought the relationship was going really good because y'all got married. So like,
It was happening before that. There was
Mm.
he had choked me, and I was the one who did drop off and pick up for his kids, and an early morning getting the kids ready. I was yelling up the stairs for the kids to come down, and in front of his kids, and
He
they told their mom.
He did that in front
he
of his kids.
Wow.
Mhm, in front of all our
Oh my
And this
God.
is
yeah.
before you were married?
Yep.
And they told their
But he was
mom.
dreaming. He has terrible nightmares. Don't forget, he has terrible nightmares, and he just it was maybe something I had said to him when I woke him up before I came downstairs that made him start dreaming something. And so he was in defense mode when he came downstairs because he thought that. So I'm like,
I'm sorry. That just
So he was
but what I know.
sleepwalking.
oh, wow,
Was
they
he
come up with some
sleepwalking?
doozies.
Right.
He
Right.
was
Oh,
he was
yeah.
sleepwalking
Oh,
and
yeah. You
Sleep
know
dreaming
how many
and
sleep choking
I,
my
sleep
girlfriend.
choking.
yeah. Yeah. He tried using that excuse a few times. I didn't
That's
buy it
wild.
after this one time. I did not again. So yeah, they told their mom. She called CPS, and making me feel bad, like, just because that I had that really bad nightmare. They're never going to believe it, and I'm going to end up losing my custody. And if you tell them I actually did, but it. So I lied,
Yeah, because they pressured
and
you into that.
oh yeah, because if I didn't, then he would make sure that I lost custody of my kids.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, I'd been threatened that a good, I could 100 times minimum.
Wow.
That like if I had a mark, I better cover it before I go pick up the boys because he didn't want his ex to see it, because if it got questioned and he lost the boys, then I would get my kids taken away. You
Oh my
better make
God.
sure and take care of that or erase this or whatever, because yeah, it was, yeah. He
The
always had
coercive
he
control
always
is
had something right
ridiculous.
here all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
so I mean, if correct me if I'm wrong, but if this was all happening before you married him, then the logical next question in my head is, well, why the heck did you marry
How?
him?
How did
I
he
was
manipulate you into that?
Yeah.
I I was more embarrassed. And even when we got married, I didn't want to fail. I didn't,
Mm.
because I had met him just after leaving. My ex and
Mm.
I split up. Um, and he's going to be a rebound. Well, I was going to prove them wrong.
Right.
And he lived in this big nice house in this new neighborhood in this cute little small town about 25 minutes from us. It's perfect. There happened to be the perfect number of bedrooms. It just all worked out perfect.
Mhm.
He had boys, I had girls. It was the cutest little thing you'd ever see
Mhm.
until it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we got married at the river across the street from the house, and then we had the wedding reception at the Grange Hall, about a mile down the road. Um, he left only about 45 minutes into it to walk home. He'd had a few drinks,
And he
and
just left.
and I went out and I was like, I have no idea where he's gone. Well, someone said he was walking home along the highway, the little country highway. So I'm in
My
my wedding
goodness.
dress and I'm like, hey, and I'm like running after him. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm now along the railroad tracks, ironically, right? I'm
My
running
gosh.
alongside
Yeah.
the railroad tracks, to catch up to him to find out why he's walking home from our wedding reception. And I catch up to him and he turns around and starts stomping on me and just and then
My goodness.
apparently one of
Wow.
my friends said something to him that made him feel like I didn't want our kids to be a part of the ceremony, but just his kids. It was an abuser being a typical situation. But
Yeah.
as this is happening, my dad pulls up and says, "Get in. We don't want anybody to see. Let's just go home," and drives us home to my house and just wants us to, scurry us inside because you know,
Didn't want
doesn't want to
anyone to
be
see.
embarrassed. And
Right.
just like my ex would say, we can't let anybody know. Nobody can see it.
Yeah. This is
So
our
you just have
business.
to.
This isn't anybody else's business. Nobody needs to know this, what happens with internal family junk, blah, 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 blah,
My
blah.
goodness.
Yeah.
I never made it back to my
Wow.
reception.
They have to protect
Wow.
their image at all time.
I'm just floored right now. When you said your dad pulled up, I was bracing for the
He beat
Papa
the
Bear
crap out of
coming
him and
out.
all, like, that's what I was
Yeah.
bracing for,
Like,
like,
No,
don't
dad's
touch
gonna
my
here's
daughter.
dad to the rescue.
And
no, he
I'm
hopped out
completely
and
shocked.
got the minivan door open and was like, "Get in, guys," before anybody
Wow.
sees.
And
Yeah.
he didn't say anything to your husband at the
Nope.
time? Oh
Nope.
my god.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
Why?
Nobody did.
my blood pressure's going up.
Oh my goodness. I cannot even imagine.
How many people do you think knew about it without talking about it?
When it happened, my sister, my best friend, my parents, his parents, his two best friends, the wife, our kids,
Wow.
And
and
nobody said anything? Nobody said, "Hey,
nobody
or."
said we need to get you out of here. You
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Well, society these days, even this is way back, people hate conflict. Like, they
Oh.
just hate it. It all feels icky inside. They don't like the feeling, of conflict. So even if they see something wrong happening,
Mm.
right? Because, if they step in, that's conflict.
I'm not
And
that way anymore.
right, right. So,
Good.
but you went
Yeah.
through some stuff in order to get to where
Yeah.
you are today. But like, I'm looking at this story so far, what we have talked about in the last 20 minutes, I'm going, I mean, she's got the whole package before she even got married. She's got everything. She's got the manipulation. She's got the control. She's got the full blown narcissism. She got the physical stuff going on. And this is all leading up just to the wedding day. I don't even, I mean, I can only imagine from wedding day, the time span between wedding day and divorce where you left. I can only imagine the stories you have of the in between.
Right.
There was
Yeah.
never, um, I don't know, in the very, not even in the very beginning, I would say, I don't know if there was ever a complete good day,
Yeah.
Wow.
ever. I
What
don't
were
know from the time we got married if there was ever a day where
That was a
I
good day.
didn't feel it was a good day.
It does kind of like complete the picture though, like the satisfy the question marks, I guess, in my mind as to um why you went through with it, knowing that there was a bunch of people in the family and like close people to you kind of already saw what was happening. And I can see how you said, I just didn't want to fail. I didn't want to, I didn't want to prove that it was just a rebound or whatever, because it sounds like you already had a lot of pressure
Oh
to
yeah.
kind of toe the line with those people who should have been protecting you, should have stepped in, but didn't for
Mhm.
whatever reason. So yeah, I can completely see how you would feel like I have to keep going. Just got to make the
Right.
best of it, keep going.
And
Yeah.
you had, you mentioned this before in the beginning, but remind the audience, like, from the time you got married to the time you left, like, how long of a period was that?
Uh, we were together 3 years before we got married, and then we were married for just under 7.
So from very start to end was about a decade.
Mhm.
And you maybe had a little bit of a honeymoon phase when you first started dating, but then quickly turned into course of control, narcissism, physical stuff. And then you get married. And then there's the time you got married and you left. That's 7 years of hell on earth, I guess is the best term I can put up with it, because you just said,
Mhm.
like, I don't know if we even had a good day, you know, in my mind. And it's very hard for me when I have these conversations because I can't put myself in an abuser's, or I'm sorry, a victim's shoes, right? To a point where, like, I can't even imagine what y'all go through with that stuff. I can put myself in a narcissist's shoes because I have some of those tendencies just in my own personality, but it's very hard for me to put myself in like y'all's shoes. So forgive my ignorance with this next comment, but
No, no, no,
I,
no. You're
I
good.
am thinking, like, why in the world would you suffer 7 years of this? Like, what made it so difficult for
To
you to
leave.
leave in ways that, like, people on the outside looking in may not understand?
When we first met, I made twice as much as he did. I owned a house. By the end of it, he owned 2 houses, 6 cars, a boat, over 200,000 in the 401k, and I had nothing.
And
How
how
did
did
that
that
come to pass?
happen? Yeah.
Um, I had gotten the house in my divorce, and he was gonna help me work on it, and he told me I needed to rent it out, and, "Oh, don't worry about this, and don't worry about" I got screwed over in a lot of money. He It wasn't ready for me to sell, it wasn't ready for me to sell, "Not yet, we're still gonna do this." The house that I owned and his house, too much distance. Driving back and forth with when the kids were small to remodel ourselves, like, just would not work. I ended up selling it as is. 80 I know exactly, 83,000 because that's the year I was born. 83,000 we, put into his credit union
Mm.
account, because it was a grandfathered in type of account, and which you can't even change account holders on now. Um, but if I really wanted to talk to someone, I could, but, you know, so the proceeds of that were gone. He inherited, both the houses, which, knowing that that's the law, that if you inherit it, it's yours. He made me sign something, though, because he didn't, like, in my line of work, I know those sorts of laws in banking, but he didn't believe me. He, not demeaning this at all, he just always pointed it out that he drove a truck. Well, I don't know anything just because I drive a truck. So he made me sign something saying that any inherited property, any of the property basically is like a prenup, but just all talking
Mhm.
about property. So I'm like, gave it to me the day before. Like, I had decided the day before the wedding, which the law says is in duress if it's done in that time frame. Anyways, signed it. And then when I left, he brought it to court, and the judge, she told me she felt horrible in the very end when she had to, because I took it all the way to trial. I had not a dime, but I was going to make him spend every single one he possibly could. So
Mhm.
I had the binders, I had everything. I even questioned him on the stand. I brought it all the way to trial, and the judge told me in the end that, it was just more of like a procedural thing. But she
Mhm.
said, she's like, I know. I talked all about. I took care of his dad the last
Yeah.
3 years of his life. He passed away in 21, the year before I left. And that was another big reason I didn't leave for a long time,
Mm.
Yeah, that
because
makes
I was
sense.
taking care of him. So she said, I know what you did, and I can see, and I'm really sorry that I can't give you anything.
Mhm.
I was so, I, I didn't think that I would end up getting anything, but it was just, that sense of accomplishment, that I at least said my piece, and I got to question him. I
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
be the one to question him without him being able to shut me up.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's almost justification there. Like it almost sounds like you fought the good fight,
Yeah.
and you, which most people can't say. Like, they'll avoid the fight and wonder, if they would ever even, they'd go through life wondering, well, what would have happened if I would have fought. You, even though you lost, you fought the good fight. There's almost a sense of closure there. I think, at least for me, it would be like, okay, I was able to, like, do this in a court of law. You weren't able to shut me down. Whatever. I now have, even though I lost, I have closure and I can move on. Was that kind of your feeling after that?
I got my name back. I'm good. I
And then,
have my
and
life and my name, and I'm good.
okay, and then
Yeah.
yeah, then moved on. But like, they were getting back. So the original question was around, like, what made leaving initially difficult. Is that more of, it was more just the
That
financial, that he had you locked into all these different things, and if you left, you'd
No,
lose
because
them?
I had had a job by then. I had had a job, and he had threatened since the time we were married. From the second we were married, like, well, if you leave now, then you're screwed. And in the beginning, maybe in the very, very beginning, that mattered. But he had already turned everything around to where he held on to everything. And I knew that it wasn't going to last forever. And I knew he'd never give me anything. And so that really didn't matter anymore. It was more his dad. I had also taken care of his mom the last few months of her life. And taking care of his dad was a 24/7 job for 3
Mhm.
years.
Mm.
Like,
Wow.
I lived in his room,
Wow.
um, because he had dementia, and he had tubes and stuff, and he would wake up and try to take all the tubes out. So I had to live in his room, and then his
That's a lot.
boys. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
That is a
And
lot.
right after his dad died, he said, "Guess I don't need you anymore."
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez. So then, did he divorce you, or he was just saying he was he just trying to be mean,
Oh,
or was that the
oh
end
no,
of the marriage?
no, that wasn't the end of it. Yeah, no, he was he constantly said he wanted divorce. He wanted a divorce all the time.
Okay.
But he would, but as soon as I was like, fine, I would go looking for apartments or whatever, he would sabotage something
Mm-hmm.
and rope me right back in and, make me feel special for like a second,
Yeah.
make it so that whatever maybe sum of money that I did have somehow had to get spent on something else and now I didn't have the money.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
So
ridiculous.
he always had a way for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
I want to know when the like shift happened, when you realized that you couldn't do this forever, like when you realized that you needed to leave, like what was going
Yeah.
on at that
Yeah,
point?
when was your done moment? Like, I'm
Yeah.
finally
Right.
done.
That's what I was
Um,
wondering too.
I mean, I feel like every time I left, especially the last few times, I was done. The last few times I was done. The problem was I would go to my parents' house. I would go to my sister's. And my sister and my parents live a mile from each other. So it's like the same. Um, and it's acceptable. And you should work things out. And um and I would let it, I would leave my abuser to start staying with people who are abusing each other or someone
Yeah.
who's being abused, and it's just what I grew up with. It's normal.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So it was I've tried looking for her. There was a police officer because the town we lived in, very small town, elementary, high school, middle schools all across the street from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the police officer, she doesn't work there anymore. And I think it's the third time she'd been at the house. She said, "Do you have somewhere to go?" And I said, "Well, you know, I'm thinking is like no matter where I go, no matter what, I'm gonna end up back here, and the kids are gonna have school, and I'm gonna have to go to work." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know right now. And she said, "Wherever you've been, wherever you've gone before, don't go there again. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And if you can't find somewhere," she wrote down her cell phone number and gave it to me. And she said, "If you can't find somewhere, let me know." Um, so my girls happened to be all staying with a friend that weekend. And the only one that I could get a hold of was my middle one. So she was at her friend was staying at her dad's for the weekend. So I maybe met him, just nice to meet you. I'm dropping my kid off. Bye.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowed to talk to men.
Right.
So
Right. That makes
even
sense.
even not, no one would know would any different had I ever introduced myself to the dad, but I just knew that I couldn't. What if someone had ever said, what if it got, yeah.
What if it got
So,
back? Yeah.
right. So I made a point not to ever introduce myself. Well, I probably should have, but because I end up over there and my daughter lets her friend and her friend lets her dad know what's going on and that I'm heading over there because I have nowhere to go. And he works out of town, does construction out of town Monday through Friday every single week. And so he said, "I've got a 2 bedrooms with like a mattress on the floor. If you can get your own food and stuff, you can stay here as long as you want. Maybe help feed the animals," because he had goats and chickens and all the stuff. And he's like, "You could
Nice.
maybe help out and feed them once in a while. If I can't make it back by Friday." I was like, "Yeah, oh, yeah, um, yeah."
Yeah,
Nicest guy.
I would do anything for a place to stay. Absolutely. Be like, "Do you want
Right.
me to feed your animals? I will do that every day. Do they need to be
I
clean
mean,
too? Like, I just need a
I
safe
was
space."
I was on not a great mattress. Definitely a lot of people, probably maybe even animals, had used it, and it definitely smelled like they had been hanging and living in there. But I didn't
Mm,
care.
yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not care. And even having that space, that small space, and then we stayed there 2-3 months maybe, and then had saved enough for first loss deposit, and got a small apartment in town, like this small little 2-bedroom apartment. Like me, my 3 girls, and then I took in 2 girls from 2 of their friends, uh, who probably wouldn't have graduated otherwise. So I had 5 girls in the master bedroom in my apartment with like 3 sets of bunk
Wow.
beds.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was so
Wow.
proud of my little tiny apartment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that feeling. Yeah.
And that was your out moment. You never went back after that?
Nope, nope.
Okay. 'Cause
That
I didn't
mattress.
I wanted to I don't wanna gloss over that moment, where, like, you realize that you're done, you had
Mhm.
to get out, and
Here's
the
the
normal
biggie.
people. Go ahead.
What I did, I mean, and not just going to stay with a stranger, but what I did to hold myself accountable. I'd gotten in trouble for having TikTok. Um, I'd gotten tossed around for having TikTok.
Man.
Uh, oh yeah, oh yeah, and Snapchat, and I didn't even know it was on my phone. My kids downloaded it to take the pictures, the funny
Uh,
pictures.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but on TikTok, I just started recording, and I said, "This is day 1. I'm here in a stranger's house, and don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna figure it out." And every day I posted, "This is day 3, this is day 4," and I would just it would be like a 30-second video of just an update of like, this happened, or I'm feeling this way today, but and the amount of people that I was getting responses from, and I'm still friends with people that commented, and that's kind
Wow.
of having that support, because my family didn't, they
Right.
wanted it to work out. Everybody
Yeah.
thought it could work out. And
And then
it was
having the
strangers who gave me
Mhm.
the help,
Like
give
the
me the
strength.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Yeah. A
confidence and the support. I love the DV community.
Yep.
a a couple of things you said in that story when you were referencing, the female police officer, how she said, "Hey, if you don't have anywhere to go, here's my cell phone, call me." And then from the point of what you just said just now, about, strangers just helping out and all that, it's kind of in my head starting to make sense, kind of like how the DVRR got started and how it kind of works. And I kind of want to shift gears, or start to shift gears towards that, because I think people need to, as many people as we can get out about the DVRR, because it's just an amazing, what you guys do over there is phenomenal. So I want to get into what it exactly is, with that. So, like, yeah, that transition from into your apartment. I actually watched some of those TikToks way back in the day we were recording day by day. I actually went back and watched them. I'm like, okay. And I see other people doing that, like other
Yeah.
survivors. I've seen other TikTok accounts where they're like, this is day 1, this is day 2, and I just think, like, it's when you go through trauma, when you go through the things that some of these girls go through, like, it's a hard thing to get out of. Like, every story that we have heard from people that we've talked to, like, they are like dark stories. And some of these girls that have gotten out, like, they're just, the bravery that it takes to get out of that situation like that is beyond me. Like, this communities that I've been a part of, and that I've kind of learned a lot about over the past couple months, is blowing my mind. And the fact that you went from living in an apartment with, you know your girls, and day by day getting through, to starting this organization that must have been needed, because from my understanding it exploded, and it
Mhm.
Yeah.
exploded
Oh yeah.
fast. So like, let's start getting into the DVR a little bit more. Let's start
Yes.
diving into the nitty gritty of what exactly is the DVR? Like, is it a support network? Is it a help group? Is it kind of like the domestic violence hotline? Like, what is
Yes.
it?
All of those.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes, it's all of those. So currently, the way it works, if someone needs help, they can go to our website and fill out a contact form. It will go to me and another group of selected my admin volunteers, and we'll go through the intake, see what they need. Sometimes they just need support. Sometimes they've just gotten out and we had one, they're hoping to get a job, so they're hoping maybe they can have like a buddy. I think they need more encouragement.
Mhm.
People who need food, resources. But then we do get the emergency calls of, they'll submit, they need something much quicker. Anyways, they let us know how they want us to contact them. So it could be email, phone, text, Snapchat, any of the apps. And if we don't have it, we'll get it. Because if that's what's safest for them, and they can let us know what day and time. And so we find ways to message them when they need to be messaged so that because that was one of my things. I didn't even think what resources are available because I would not have dared search for anything.
Yeah.
I didn't even bother thinking to search for it because
Yeah.
he's someone who would have found a way. He would have
Mhm.
known, he would have found out. And that just wasn't an option.
Yeah.
And this is something that gives that option. We have found so many loopholes and so many secret behind the scenes 007 ways to communicate with these women and get them out. It would blow your mind.
Yeah.
That's
I want
awesome.
I want to know if there was a specific event that happened that caused you to come up with the idea behind the DVRR. Was there something specific that happened in your life, or were you just kind of thinking something needs to be done and I need to do something? Like, how did you come up with the whole concept?
For me, and I've a lot of survivors, our survivor date is hard. That time's
Yeah.
coming. So it was just as the month was starting, June 2nd of last year. And I posted the 10 things that were in my DV relationship that were normal, that are not normal. And it went viral, and tens of thousands of comments. And, all these survivors, like, that were where I was. And then the thousands of victims who said, I relate to number 7. Be like, oh, number 8 was just yesterday. And I'm like, I felt guilty. Honestly, I felt guilty. Like, here I am, like, here's me. This is what used to be, and part of me felt guilty. And there were all these comments of all these women who I wanted to leave, but didn't know how. And they were like asking what, because someone said, oh, I had to do this and this to get out. And someone said, well, how did that happen? Or what did you do? Because I really need to get out. And so
Yeah.
some of the comments from some of the survivors, I made a chat group in Messenger and invited, some of the people who had commented into the group, and just kind of split them up. I had a separate group for the people who we were helping, and then people who were volunteering, and then one for all of us. And we pulled off some escapes like right off the bat. And I've 4 days later, I applied for the business license.
So
Nice.
Wow.
it sounds like this like literally almost created itself. Like it was
Yeah.
such an organic metamorphosis from just, hey, starting out. I mean, from what I heard, you started a messenger chat, not with the intent of starting an organization, just with the intent of just like chatting with some of
Helping
these
a few people.
commenters. And it just
Yeah.
naturally morphed into what it is today. And it's what, less than a year?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's less than a year. What are we? What? I don't even. What day is it?
It's still
Yeah,
April.
it's still April. Yeah, we're almost at 11 months.
Wow.
And you're in all 50 states?
We're
Like
in all
you
50
have
states.
representation in all 50 states. Like how
I have
many
numbers for at least someone in every state.
what
Wow.
would you say your like your I don't even want to say member count, but like I don't know if you to take every chat and every group because you guys don't use Messenger anymore, right? You use something
No,
else. You use
uh, what's that?
WhatsApp, right?
Yep.
So if you were to take every member in the WhatsApp, all the groups, and like just guess how many people are in that group.
Volunteer side of things, at one point we had over 500 volunteers uh already, but in the transition, a lot of women were like, really I mean, it is super powerful, especially if you've been through it.
Yeah.
Um and really wanting to join and all that, but either whatever they had going on, or didn't really realize how much time it would take, or maybe they just want to be the on-call person.
Mhm.
We scaled it down a little bit more to the people who, they'll be available, they'll come in and check the chats and everything. We've got over a few hundred right now. I want to Hey, with the others, there's like 282. I feel like that's a number that's stuck in my head from looking at the last member count.
And
182.
and that's for volunteers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There are, especially my admins. I love them. I have my right hand, and I could not. This would not be a thing without that woman
Mhm.
ever. Um, because I have a day job. So, and there's so much that goes on during the day. Victims don't,
Mhm.
abusers don't just take a break because I have a
Yeah.
day job.
Mhm.
Yep.
So someone's holding down the fort while I'm at work.
Yeah. How
So
many I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
I was just going to kind of scenario this out. I'm a victim of a very narcissistic wife. She abuses me every day and I need out, right? I just go to a website and like fill out a form and somebody will like get me out of this hellhole that I'm living in right now.
Depending on the situation, we'll contact you, if you need to be contacted on TikTok after 8 p.m. any day of the week. Give us there's a spot, we'll ask for the username, contact you that way,
Yeah.
and then we'll get more information on the situation, and we'll create a plan. Like, I was I was thinking of an example earlier, like a woman, we were helping create a plan because we were going to send a vehicle for her, and she was going to need a car seat to go in the
Mm,
Uber. But what was she going to do? I brought up the car seat. I said, "You're going to need the car seat." And she's like, "Well, how am I going to get the car seat out of the car? What reason is she going to have?" And I said, "Well, when he drops you back off at the house in the morning, make sure that some juice or milk spills all over the car seat and you have to bring it in to clean it." And she's like, "Oh my," and then, and a few days before that, we had her start collecting stuff that she was going to donate into bags and boxes, and she was
mm,
tucking in the side of the garage. So when the day came, the car seat was at the house, and she already had a couple. Well, she had like a small
Donations.
suitcase and a small raggedy old suitcase and a couple garbage bags full of the kids' stuff.
So y'all like really, y'all really like customize that experience. And my
Everybody's custom. Every
yeah,
single situation, all of them.
okay. Taking it back to my analogy where I said my wife abuse. That's just it. I'm joking, people. My wife doesn't abuse me. She's great.
Aw.
You can see somebody in the comments being like, dude, I mean, there's always trolls out there. I'm learning little side thing here. Now that we started the podcast, brand new, we start our TikTok accounts and all this stuff to kind of get the word of what we do and the kind of our mission. The comments, the trolls that come out of the woodwork
Yeah.
for like no reason whatsoever. I'm like reading these and it's taking, I have to
Yeah.
learn, it's taking every ounce of my being not to troll the trolls because I'm like that. I'm like, oh, you want to come after me? All right, let's go. We'll do this. Oh,
Yeah.
anyway.
I get them. I get comments on my videos like, well, then where are these women with the proof that you did these things? Like, where's the testimonies? I'm like, we're still new. Like, these women have only been out for a few months. They're not ready to like stand on a soapbox yet. Like, it's
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow. They're still afraid their abuser isn't going to find them.
exactly. And I mean,
Jeez.
there's comments, and actually, the one guy who had said that, there was a woman who. Oh wow, it is April. Okay, so it's would have been at least 6 months for her. Someone that we had helped out who commented on that, and she just did like a little raise hand emoji. But
Yeah.
I was like, I messaged her. I was like, thank you. She goes, I didn't want to go into detail, but I just wanted to show that I'm here. That was
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't know if I watched this on a YouTube video or read this in an article or something. They said something like, if you're doing social media and stuff and you're not getting trolling comments, you're doing something wrong. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense. So like trolling comments are a good sign that we're doing something right. We're hitting a nerve on somebody that they don't like.
I
Yeah.
was thinking, who's going to be against what we do though?
I
There
know.
is.
I
There
know.
is
There are.
a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
we
always
don't
think to
help rescue
myself,
men. That's one of them.
oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I always think to myself that it's those people that are putting those kinds of comments out there are probably the kind of people that we're trying to save people from.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And like our content actually in an indirect way calls them out and they just
Yeah.
for some
Exactly.
reason can't refrain from fighting back even though
No.
we have no idea who you are, buddy.
Right.
No. No, and I've
Uh,
had a lot of the same people. They'll go through and comment on like 10 different videos. What
yeah.
about the men?
Oh, that actually brings up a good point. Good question. Have you ever had any one of your like rescues or anything that you've like you're trying to help somebody? Have you ever had like something backfire or something go horribly wrong,
Mm.
or like do you have those? Has that
Yes.
happened to you guys yet?
Oh,
Yeah. There, and I'm so glad that there was a much better outcome. It was so scary for a while there. There's a girl that we had helped, one of the first ones I mean, we put so much time into this. Like we stayed up until the sun came up, FaceTiming with this girl as she took a bus from Indiana. We were with her FaceTiming when she was at the bus station in Chicago, downtown Chicago, at like midnight.
yeah.
And then to the next one, and we had started the FaceTime when the cops were there, and she needed somewhere to go, so all the family situations were not good. So one of our volunteers that she had been chatting with a little bit was like, come down here. I'm going to make a spot. We were all pumped, and she got on the bus, and then she wasn't on the bus when our volunteer went to pick her up.
That's terrifying.
My, so
Yeah.
what
Got off somewhere in
happened?
the middle.
she got off. She was afraid of starting over like that. She was very young. She was afraid of starting over. It was like the only life she'd ever known,
Yeah.
and she got a ride back to her mom's, and then shortly thereafter went back to him.
Oh,
But she did contact us again. It was probably, and this was one of our very first ones. Contacted us
yeah.
again maybe 2 months later. She said, I realized you guys were right and I'm tired of it shit. And she left again without needing our help. She had left. And we talked to her a little bit more over the next few days and pumped her up, and she got this job at like FedEx. And she had to do like the first day, like she was so excited. Like she showed us our badge, like when she in front of the FedEx sign.
Nice.
And her first day, the orientation day was like 2 hours earlier than your normal schedule, and
Mhm.
the buses don't run then. So like we sent an Uber for her for, you know, her, it
Nice.
was like a $15 Uber, but she hadn't gotten her paycheck yet. That didn't come out of that money. That was one of our other volunteers was like, I paid for her Uber. I was like, I don't, that's awesome.
That's
But
great.
yeah, it's just those little things.
Yeah, that's so helpful.
How do you coordinate with Uber? Like, let's just say you're trying to do pull off a rescue, and like you're gonna send somebody an Uber. Like,
Which one? So there's one we did. She knew when he was going to be gone. He was going to be running however many errands. So she said she had a window of. She said he'll be home at the earliest this time. Whatever. We in scheduling the Uber, she calls us or messages us and says he's not going to run the last errand. He's going to be here in like less than 30 minutes, not 2 hours. And so I hurry up and book the Uber. She's already got the stuff packed. Like she's already made it so obvious that she's leaving. She now has to leave.
Yeah.
Right. So, and her window just got very small. So
Yeah.
I went on like whatever the fastest Uber was that the price option gave me. And I always prep the Uber drivers, even because we've had DoorDash drivers have to make deliveries secretly for us before too. But I'll let the drivers know the situation, that it's not something that they need to be involved in or anything, but just so they know the possible emotional position that the person they're picking up might be in.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so just so that why is this screaming, crying girl getting in my car with her baby?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
so I do warn them. But I did let this guy know that the Uber driver, that it was going to be a very quick pickup, that we had ordered it and now have a smaller window. And I could see him on the map, like
Yeah.
just so fast, and stop.
Willy.
He had stopped 5 seconds. I mean, long enough for her to basically like hop in. And she was on the phone with one of our volunteers while all this is going on. And they had gotten almost to the end of the block when they passed his truck.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Did he
Got
see her?
Nope. She was hiding in the back seat.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I know, I just
Wow.
got chills. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
her
I
out,
this
got
is
her to a
Can
shelter.
literally
She's
make
in
a
a place
movie.
now. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. We had a girl who she didn't have any form of technology. She only had her toddler son's tablet had like a cracked screen and everything. That was the only way she had to communicate. And so she'd been messaging with us that way. She'd have to delete the app and re-download it every day.
Yeah.
But we we DoorDashed her a prepaid phone. She took a picture with the tablet from inside her son's room to look out the window, so that he knew where to put the phone. So I sent
Mhm.
that picture to the driver and said, this window, put it under the railing by that window. This is the reasoning, whatever. So she got it and, let us know it was set up. And it was just later that night that and she locked her and the baby in the bathroom and got the cops to come because she had a phone to call with. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and she got out and got
Wow.
to her auntie's house and
Whoa. Oh my
That's
goodness.
amazing. That's so
Like,
awesome. It's nice that the Uber drivers will
cooperate.
do this. Like, do you
Right.
oh
ever
yeah.
get any that are like, no, this is too much for me? Like, do any of them do that, or they all pretty much want to help?
No, I mean, I've had a response like, am I going to have to do anything? And I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
don't have to. I'm just, just more letting you know. But, we've used them for the most recent one. We had a girl we were getting to a shelter and her car broke down and we needed to replace the car part.
Oh,
And
is this the
so
California girl?
So
Okay, yeah,
we
I saw this one on
sent,
TikTok. This is
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So we had Uber. I didn't even know Uber had Uber Courier, which is fantastic. It's cheaper because I was, I had this running joke with the Napa guy that we were just going to name the thermostat Angela. And so if Uber could only pick up people, I'm like, is that a rule? Like, then I discovered they have Courier, but yeah, we had Uber deliver a car part to a person in a middle of a parking lot in the middle of
Wow.
nowhere.
Wow.
I did explain a little bit of what we were there. But yeah, and
Yeah.
then that's when where that maintenance manager at the casino, because she was parked at the casino in the parking lot, and he
Mhm.
came over to ask her if she needed help. And she only had her screwdriver and a wrench.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I'm spinning. But yeah, we actually just checked in with her earlier. I'm gonna have to check with Candace. She said she's doing good though. So she's
Yeah.
excited.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a cool. I mean, all the stories are really cool stories. Like, but the fact that everything's so customized to the individual and what their needs are. I mean, I think what my understanding of the one you just mentioned when I read it on TikTok or I watched it on TikTok is, you know, she was leaving, she was getting out, her car broke down. We were like all you put out a TikTok for an all call of like any mechanics. Does anybody know anything about cars? There's
Mhm.
something wrong. There's this thing that's broke, and it's just I'm on the edge of my seat thinking like, okay, are they going to find like some random dude that knows a little bit about mechanics to be able to identify the part that's broken to be able to fix it, and how are they going to get the part out there? Like,
It
and
was
then
a
when you say that,
volunteer,
yeah,
a volunteer mechanic who figured it out.
Nice.
Love
Mm-hmm.
that.
that saw your TikTok or that like as part of your
Yeah.
crew that lived
She wasn't
close
part of our
to
crew.
her.
She saw it. She just saw the video and she was like, I'm a mechanic. I can help. And I checked with our girl who was stranded and she was like, yes, give her my number. So they FaceTime videoed so she could like show her and they, did a diagnostic based on, the checking. And that's when Juan, the maintenance guy, came out. And so she figured out
Wow.
what it was so Juan could get it fixed.
Mm,
Nice.
that's
Look at that
awesome.
teamwork. I
Yeah.
love that teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
One, I cannot forget that Candace said I have to mention. We had a girl who was like she had made the plan. We had made the plan. The plan was made, and then silence.
No, that's
And
scary.
yeah, yeah. So she was going to call us, and we were going to, send a ride, and it never called. And then her TikTok had been deleted.
Oh,
No.
And
dang.
and and with one of the volunteers who had been communicating with her a lot, she's like trying to recall information that she's told her. like about where she's at, her kids' ages, just any little things she can think of. We know abouts in what state. We know her name, but her name on the TikTok is a little might be her last name. Basically, we connect the dots between just like things like hobbies, her first name, and what we were guessing her age was. We figured out who she was, and found her on Facebook. Her profile was even private, but she was in like a community for sale group, and she
Mhm.
had posted a pair of baby Ugg boots for sale.
Okay.
So a couple of our volunteers each messaged her inquiring about said baby Ugg boots.
Mm.
So when she said, "Oh yeah, sure, here's my address, you can come by and get them," one of our
Nice.
volunteers, and she said we had two of them doing it because it worked out so that one of them was going to end up being able to go by there when the husband wasn't there,
Yeah.
because we weren't sure of his work schedule. So we were like, okay, you set up this one and you set up that one, and see if you can hint about this and see if she maybe gives up that her husband, because we're trying to hint to her who we are and she's
Right.
not picking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like now we give code words now. We've learned. But
Yeah.
so she's not thinking, she's not figuring it out. So our volunteer goes with an officer,
Okay.
and she's just like, how did you guys know? How did you guys know where to find me? She's
Baby Ugg
like,
boot.
yeah.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
He wasn't there because he was going to pick his mother up to come stay with them to watch her,
Ah,
to make sure that, you know,
Wow.
She stayed in line.
She just was well behaved. Wow.
so did he like punish her by deleting her social media? Oh my gosh. He just
it's
wanted
happened to
her to be
me.
completely
Yeah.
Yeah.
isolated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
they
So
isolate so they
just
can have
from
more control.
just the little bits of information we had, that she had a baby and
That's amazing.
where yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
awesome what
just
this group can do.
yeah, we've pulled off some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's still new.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
imagine how many, oh my gosh, how many more people you're going to be able to help as the DVRR grows. I'm curious as to like, say you guys had an influx of money, like what do you envision the future of the DVRR looking like?
If I had if it was fully funded and all that, there's a few people, because it's a very emotional thing to
Mhm.
do. And we have had volunteers come, and we've had volunteers that are like, "Oh, this was a good idea. Bye."
Yeah.
Or like, "Maybe I'll just stay out here. Call me if you need me." But
Yeah.
it takes a special kind of stupid, I think, sometimes to do what I did and be 24/7.
Mhm.
But we have a few volunteers that they already sacrificed so much of their personal time to help us. It's They're stay at home moms, and that don't need to mom. Their kids are old enough, but they're doing it for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, Candace is my oh, I love that woman. Um, but it would be great to have like a core set of a few volunteers that I could even pay part-time to do all the work, so I don't have to, switch stuff out. And then setting up those emergency funds.
Yeah.
Just and it sucks that it's on like a case by case,
Mhm.
and it's hard to set the rules and standards as to when it applies and when it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But they are for, emergency situations.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's the mom who got out, 3-4 months ago, she just got into a place and now she doesn't have a dime left over to feed her or the kids. Yeah, I'll send you $50 in groceries, because we'll get those messages like, okay, we'll send the food banks. That food bank's open on Monday, but it's Friday and there's not much open. We'll send an Instacart order with like, give me a small list. And then the moms, I always send like what kind of little treat does mom like?
Some
Like I
chocolate
always
or
like
ice
sending,
cream.
or like I'll do like I'm like I'll tell the driver, the shopper, like just get me like a $3.99 bouquet of carnations or something. Like I always love sending something like that
Something
extra
little special.
because it's something they probably never got before or
Yeah.
rarely ever did.
Right.
So yeah,
So how are
we
you
like being the sunshine.
how are you currently funding yourself now?
Stickers, lots and lots of stickers.
Like you have a sticker machine, you make stickers or
No,
smiley
no,
faces?
no, no, no. No. I order them, and I'm actually I've just slightly changed the I moved you the design. So it's going to have Domestic Violence Railroad listed across the top here, but it's the QR code that goes to our website where the victims can contact us. These I actually have now embedded it so you can now buy them on the website,
Hmm.
and I've got the store for that. And then the donations, we've gotten just a couple good donations in the last few days. One of our volunteers um, said she finally came into some money, so she sent us a little donation that it should get us by for the next month. So we're just
Cool.
month by month
Yeah.
doing what we can and pitching in,
Yeah.
and it takes a village. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
It sure does.
big
How
village.
how much are your
Yeah.
stickers?
On the website, they're $10. I think I have, is it $10, 15? I think
Mm-hmm.
it's $10. Yep.
Yep.
TikTok, they have amazing shipping and fees stuff.
Yeah.
So I do have to increase a little bit more on there. I've had people buy them in bulk for there's a town in Pennsylvania that has a bunch of them up at in their like city county building.
Mhm.
Nice.
There's a town in South Carolina that will have some of them on, I think maybe the patrol cars even.
Yeah.
That's
Um
awesome.
it may just be in a bathroom or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have them on the back of my car. I have people who buy the stickers and then they forget, and then they remember when they're like, "Why is there someone looking like they're in their car parked?" And they're like, "Who's looking at the back of my car? Like,
Yeah.
who is that?
Yeah.
Is someone looking at my window?" Like they're like, "Oh yeah, it's the
Forgot I
It's
have
a
that
sticker.
sticker back there.
It's the sticker." But and then I've had a couple people who have purchased stickers say that they've gotten thank you notes on their
Aw,
windshield.
Oh,
Nice.
that's so
nice.
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I have mine. I have couple stickers. I have one on my car, and then I'm putting another one in. I got permission to take one to a domestic violence shelter. And I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I put this up there?" And I explained what it was and everything, and they were like, "This is amazing. Like, absolutely." So, obviously, I went ahead and bought more.
Well, and I think I probably sent some of the cards too, which I want to send. I need to send a lot more of those out. I have a lot of those.
And I love that you write little handwritten notes too. I still have the very first one that I got from you. I was like, I'm saving this forever that come with the stickers. It's such a nice touch.
And I've been asked, like, with as busy as I am and
Mhm.
as much as I'm trying to do, like, you could just print out all those letters that you send out, like
Yeah.
saying, thanks for buying a sticker. I'm like, it will take me 30 seconds to personally thank somebody for supporting us.
Mhm.
That means the world to me if someone did that for me. And
Mhm.
it means the world to me that they would believe in this and support us. So it's worth that 30 seconds.
And it means a lot to people. I was really excited
Exactly.
to get it. I was like, "Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
Sarah."
Okay, so what would you tell somebody who's okay? Whether they watch your TikTok or whether they find this episode, whether they watch this episode and they're like, "Well, I'm not a survivor, but I want to help. Like, I want to volunteer. I want to help. Like, plan a rescue in my area." Or like, is that possible? Can somebody who's not a survivor still volunteer? Like, how would I go about like hooking up with you guys to like be like, yeah, I'm here to help?
We do keep some information kind of like on hand based on states and those sort of things. Like we have someone who just contacted us who boards dogs, who said that if we ever needed anyone to, foster a dog for a while, that she has all that stuff.
Hmm.
Those sorts of things, like we try to keep as much of those things as we can, but where we are so much different and where we work and can do things that the hotline, law enforcement, nobody else can do, is we're survivors and we've been through it and we know the things that they're going to say and the things that they're thinking and the things that you're going to have to come up with and the excuses that are going to have to be made to get you out and the time frame and what in a plan B, plan C. Like, we know how to do those things. We've done
Mhm.
it ourselves, we've done it for other people. The creativeness of this group, like, because the lies we've had to tell to just get out the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um yeah. Yeah, we're pretty creative and we just and we can do it without them having to call their family who may be impartial
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
or yeah.
it sounds like to me that it's very survivor led, it's a very survivor led organization. And somebody like, me that hasn't really been through it, you don't necessarily even want me because I'm not a good fit for something like that. Sure, I'll help out. I'll talk to somebody on the phone, but I don't know the words to say. And I kind of get why you guys are more like, no, our volunteers, they're all survivors because they know the lingo. They know what we've gone through. We don't just bring on any old Joe Schmo that says, oh, I like what you're doing. Please, let me help. That
Mhm.
makes total sense. And I actually applaud you for that because most people that run nonprofits and that are running around with chickens with their head cuts off will take any form of help,
Yeah.
even if it's from anybody. And y'all are like, no, we don't want just anybody's help. Like we're a
Not every yeah.
we're a survivor
Because
led
not
organization.
everybody can do what we do.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
ev-
And I
yeah.
I applaud you for that. So if you're out there and you're like me and you want to help, but you've never been through this situation, um, send some money their way. But you can
Yeah.
help that way. You can
Buy a
help that way.
sticker
Sure.
or a whole
A
bunch of
sticker, buy
stickers.
10 stickers.
Yes.
Yeah, a $10 sticker, it's expensive, but you're paying $10 to help an organization. It's not so much the value of the
It's
sticker,
not the
people.
sticker. Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
I know there's gonna be people
But
in the
the
comments be like,
sticker, the thing is like you're getting something, but you're getting something that you're going to be able to give back 100 times
Mhm.
to victims because you're giving our information out. So,
Mhm.
and the only thing I compare it to, especially to people who have never been through abuse and don't know what it's like when you're a survivor.
Mhm.
And because you can have survivors, you can have a conversation about it doesn't even need to be that. Um, but you can make a comment about something or see something, and you can tell by the look on the other woman's face.
Yep. Absolutely.
100%. And the only thing I can compare it to is like a military veteran.
Mhm.
You may not have served side by side, but you were in the same war.
Mhm.
And that automatically connects you, and you have a lingo, and you have
Yeah.
that feeling in your gut that anybody else who wasn't there with you guys would understand.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've actually talked to it's been weird actually. Ever since we started the Fortified Freedom Network and the podcast came out, I've talked to new people that just like, strike up a conversation with somebody at church and decide like we're kind of clicking, let's go out for coffee. And there's just something about that, even that first interaction, that kind of tips my brain off and is like, there's something more here. And I feel like I know what it is. Let's go out for coffee so that, you can confirm that for me. And literally the last 3 times this has happened to me in the past probably 3 months, I've been right. It's been like we feel like we're telling each other stories. We sit there for 2-3 hours and it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't know. Like somebody actually knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, yep, you don't even have
And
to use the
understand.
words. I completely understand what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Yeah, no explanation needed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give Sarah first. I want to thank you for coming on and talking to us about the DVR, telling your personal story, getting that all out there. I want to give you kind of the last word here. So I want to thank everybody for watching. But my last question to you, and then is like, what would you say to somebody who potentially is watching this right now that says, "Oh my gosh, Sarah's story is my story. The only difference is I'm not out yet." What would your advice be to that person? You're talking to yourself 5 years ago. What would you say? What would you say to that person that's experiencing your story right now?
You're not the only one. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It is absolutely nothing to be embarrassed about because it is so common. Um, you don't need to feel bad for being in the position you're in. And as hard as it may feel, like sleeping on a mattress, a stinky old mattress in a stinky old room in a stranger's house for months, it may not be a white picket fence, and there may not be a job ready for you at that new apartment and everything lined up for you if you leave. It's not going to be immediate, but once you're out, the feeling of not walking on eggshells anymore is the most glorious.
Yeah.
It's very strange uh to learn how to not constantly look over your shoulder, but once you do, I cut all my hair off and got more tattoos. I'm just, the amount of love I have in my heart, it just, there's so much potential for ev- all these women, and I feel like they're losing their light, and
Yeah.
we can help bring it back.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, that just warmed my heart so much. I was just like, just watching you in awe. I'm so proud of you and from where you came to where you are now and how you're using your pain. I often say turning pain into purpose, and it's absolutely admirable what you do. I'm so
Thank
grateful
you.
for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to again just thank you for coming on the podcast and telling your story, talking to us about the DVRR. We're gonna wrap it there. If you'd like to get in touch with Sarah and the DVRR, we're gonna have all of the info to get in touch with them in the description of this video. The links, her TikToks, pretty much any social media account that she wants to give out, we're gonna put in the description. And if you guys have comments or have questions, or if you need to get out, reach out to us, DM us. Steph has her TikTok. That'll be in the description. Fortified Freedom has their TikTok. That'll be in the description. We'll get you to the right place. If you need help and you need out, just reach out to somebody and we will get you to the right people to help you get out. So I want to just thank everybody for sticking with us this long. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, feel free to give us a comment below. So thanks, guys. We appreciate it, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.